What's up, folks? Sean the Average Angler coming at you with another great video, and we're going to continue on with our summer series, back to the shallow water. The last time we did the more stealthy stuff. Now we're going to move on to some other things. Maybe they're common, maybe they're not for you. I don't know. This is just to help expand everybody's knowledge and give you some ideas on how to approach your body of water in the heat of summer. And there's a lot of great baits out there, guys. I like to fish stuff that's fun, but fun is also getting bit. So some of these are probably really popular and common, but I've got a sleeper tucked in here for you that you probably have not heard of or thought of before, and let me tell you, it can be a real winner. All right, so let's start off with one of everybody's favorites. And we're getting back into calling fish to us, whereas the last video we were about being stealthy, sneaking up on them, letting that bait get into their zone without them knowing it's coming. Well, now we're in the opposite, and this is a little bit more when the water's a little bit dirtier, or if there's some sort of cover for the fish to hide in that might be out on these flats, such as weed patches. For those that don't know or haven't tried, you can find a 2-foot round weed patch on a flat and you can punch fish out of it. Okay, fish will use about any kind of cover that they can find. And if they're fish that want to be shallow, they will use the stuff in the shallow cover. These small weed patches, isolated weed patches. They love them because most anglers honestly bypass them. Anyway, that's just an example. We're going to get on with the baits here, and I've got quite a few to go over. First is going to be the buzzbait. This happens to be a Brazalo. I've seen now you can get them on Tackle Warehouse. So very simple. This blade hits the ball. These are very good buzzbaits out of the package, ready to go. Get yourself a Skipper Toad from Fat Pack Baits. They offer 2 sizes, folks. I don't know too many other people that do. Anyway, that is one way I'm going to go, probably my first choice, mostly because these aren't as widespread. Not everybody has them, but then most of the buzz baits I tend to use are not mainstream buzz baits. Now the next one might be a little mainstream, but I don't think so. This is a Picasso buzzsaw. That color's not showing up very well. Oh, fear, I've got another one right here. All right, double buzz, nice skirted colors there. I pretty much go with white or black, and then I mess around with different gold or black blades. Keep it pretty simple. There's a black with gold right here. The downside of these double buzzes, they're a little more difficult to store. I typically tie them on and they're on, so when they're off out of season, they hang on my pegs on the wall in here, and they're fine that way. I'm fishing those on braid. I don't tend to lose them. Not saying I never have, but I don't tend to lose them. So they last quite a while. If you're fishing them heavy, getting through a season would be really good. My work schedule and other things going on have not permitted me to fish as much as I'd like. So this year, I haven't even broke open the new packages. I'm still fishing on last year's stuff. So that's good and bad, I guess. All right, moving on, but we're still going to be in that general style. And these are more for open water, edges, those kinds of things, because they have treble hooks and they don't do real well with weeds. But these are a proven killer, and boy, let me tell you now, it seems like everybody's got one. My 2 are still the Whopper Plopper 130. That is a 130, right? Yep. 130. That color there is called Blue Blood. That one's Monkey Butt, which for some reason seems to be really popular. Well, it catches them. That's a 110 millimeter. So we got 130 millimeter, 110. Now we've got the 105 and the Chopo. And actually, I really like this size. And the Chopo and the whopper plopper, sorry, brain fart, are not the same baits, folks. They look the same, but they have different sounds, okay? Sometimes they really want the whopper plopper, sometimes they really want the chopo. But one thing I will say about any of these types of baits, fish seem to learn them quickly. Meaning if there's a bunch of people throwing one brand, they don't tend to eat it real well, go to the other one. Pretty simple adjustment there. Change the sound up. If they're hesitant to eat it really well, but they're still blowing up on it, it means they want it, but something's holding them back. So a little different bait oftentimes can be the turning point of you getting bit or not. Okay, let's not give up the secret just yet. All right, next we're going to talk about frog fishing, and I'm getting ready for the Snag Proof Open. So I've got all kinds of Snag Proof frogs here. I got a popping frog. I got the Bobby's Perfect frog. I got the old, apparently these are worth quite a bit of money. Can't get them anymore. It's the fatty popping frog. Quite honestly, I'm not impressed. And I haven't used this style yet. The fish seem to like this. I don't think they all perform all that great. Some of them do, some of them don't, type of thing. Frog fishing can be good. Open water, over matted water, duckweed, floating cover, you name it. I mean, frog fishing, and I do not discriminate. I fish my frogs everywhere, because every time you think you know where they're at, especially if you're dealing with a frog tournament, you find out those fish just moved off of the popular areas, the common spots, those kinds of things. And one thing I'll say is think outside the box. This is a pretty cool bait. Now, they had this quite a while ago. It was a different name back then, the Wobbletron, I think. Now it's called the Zoo Wake. And what I can tell you is the plastic's different. The tail seems longer, and it's a different material. So videos and stuff, I've not fished this yet, but videos and stuff I've been watching on it, these are a new bait. Again, just thinking outside the box, trying to throw something a little different that not everybody else is throwing. And then I'm going out to practice with it and seeing if I can find some sort of trigger with it. Okay, it's topwater frogs, good way to cover water. I know a lot of people don't think you're covering water with frogs, but if you walk a frog, you can cover some water with the frog. Okay, I've got long cast rods here that are 7'9". I've got shorter frog rods here that are 7 foot. I use it all for different things. Our rods, reels, line is just a tool. So take advantage of that, maximize for what it is you're trying to do for best result. Long casts, I use the longer rod. If I'm pitching to cover, I use a shorter rod. Pretty simple. I mentioned a sleeper, and this is a commotion causing technique that isn't thought of a lot, using a very popular bait. It's just most of us cast and retrieve a spinnerbait underwater. Maybe we even add some twitches, we reel and stop reeling kind of thing. What I discovered 25 years ago, maybe it was only 23, is if you take your rod tip, cast it out, take your rod tip, keep your rod tip up at 10 o'clock, and keep that bait near the top, meaning the top 4-6 inches. You can run that over cover. You can use your rod to just pop it from 10 to 12, and that bait will rise up, and those blades, as they're spinning, as they come out of the water, they slap the water. And I don't know what it is about it, but it is a huge trigger to get some massive bites. And you can do this in areas that you fish through with other baits or even a spinner bait, but you didn't do that, and all of a sudden these fish are coming unglued. I think what it is it's triggering some sort of feeding response to the bass, and they can't help themselves. Now, I'm not going to tell you it works all the time. It doesn't work all the time, but there are times when it works. and you can just run around everywhere and do the same thing, and the same thing keeps happening. Okay, these are little tricks that we find, and I think people, even if they've heard about it, if it doesn't happen first, second time they go out and try it, they write it off as it doesn't. Well, let me tell you, it is a thing. This works when it works. It's always worth trying. The spinnerbait is a great bait in the summertime for shallow bass. So why not take a few casts in an area that you think, man, there should be a fish here, or I know there's fish here, I can't get them to bite, and give it a try. Turning a age-old standby into a bait that it's not. So sort of like a buzzbait, except those blades are slapping the water more like a fleeing shad. So anyway, that's a really good one that I've had some phenomenal days on, guys. It's just something to keep in your bag and try it from time to time, and one day you're going to find out the average angler knew what he was talking about. Because we didn't talk about these in the last video, we're going to talk about it here. And here's one other thing I want to say. Don't be afraid to downsize your baits. Try different sizes. How many of you have thrown a 1/8 ounce double buzz? That is a Buzzsaw Junior. It is 1/8 of an ounce. Pretty cool. How many fish do you think have seen that? That happens to be the 75 millimeter Whopper Plopper. Okay. And I'll tell you, I don't fish those Whopper Ploppers the same way on those little ones. They just don't seem to work as well. I do more of a rip and pause. Rip and pause. Maybe call it pull and pause, because I'm not really ripping it far. Just get that tail buzzing and then kill it and let it sit. One more for you. And I'm going to give you some alternatives here, because some of these aren't as readily available. Actually, I wouldn't say any are readily available, but that's going to be like a Flag 170, or better known as a soft glide bait. Okay? Don't click off yet. I've got alternatives. I told you. This is a Magdraft IU Twitcher. Phenomenal bait. These are available, but you might have to go to one of the Japan sites to get it. Just telling you, very, very good bait. Also very similar, but they're not. Okay, they are very different baits, although they look similar. If you can get one of these, they're fantastic. You can burn them, you can pause them, you can chop them, you can do about anything you want with them. Fish come from a ways away to eat them. They get really keyed on attacking that thing, and they are a lot of fun. They're also very durable, guys. So I know they're a bit more costly. By the way, that Magdraft IU Twitcher, when I bought them probably about a year ago, they were about 22 bucks. It's a sleeper just because they're not as readily available. If you can't find anything, the Nessie will work. I've got plenty of subscribers that have said they've done very well on the Nessie. The 9 swims better than the 7. If you got a 7, fishing them out of the package can be frustrating. My suggestion is boil them, do the boil trick, and try to soften them up so they become a little more pliable. And I think you will find that the bait will work. Now, you can't burn them like you can burn a flag. Okay, they're not a flag. It's more of a rhythmic retrieve to get the Nessie to work. Not as versatile, but it does work for this. It will catch fish. If you like this kind of content, you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button down there. Join the Average Angler community. We're more than happy to have you. Look forward to seeing you every day. I'm Sean, the Average Angler. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.